Hi there, welcome back to another small ramble with me, writer and mental health advocate Tobe Allen. I'm also one half of the BARROW Podcast, the show I do with my mum, where we talk about divorce, dysfunctional families, and mental illness while writing a memoir together. We've been doing a lot on childhood development and trauma and all that sort of good, horrible stuff lately. I've been thinking about my development and various situations I was put in. I've talked on this channel before about stepfamilies and access arrangements and trauma that comes from all of that. Look, I've always said I don't want to put like too much emphasis on the trauma aspect. Life is hard. Like you sort of have to endure it on some level, and many experiences that we have can be painful. But I find stepfamilies really interesting, and I I'm at pains to kind of like not offend people, and then at other times I'm like, well, look, I have no say in that. People get offended over everything now, so like, what can I really do? But I find stepfamilies and the formation of stepfamilies particularly interesting. And look, maybe this is all, this is in only acrimonious circumstances, let's say, but I suspect it's not. I suspect it's in reasonable and well-intentioned circumstances as well. I just think that when stepfamilies form, there is so much space for all sorts of feelings to just slip through the cracks and for them to go unnoticed. And I think what happens when they form is that, you often have two people that are involved who project this kind of like, this is great, this is for the betterment of everybody, when really it's only for the betterment of those two individuals involved, but they sort of project it out onto everybody else. And I think that the people around them, and I'm talking sort of like the children of like people that get together, they kind of get lost in the mix. Their complex feelings probably aren't particularly understood, nor sort of are they given space to kind of like tease those things out. Certainly, I ended up in a stepfamily scenario as a child. My father partnered with somebody else who had children. And, I kind of just dealt with it at the time. I didn't really think about it. But later in life, sort of realized that actually these feelings of being abandoned by my father were really compounded when he joined another family. And I didn't just feel abandoned, but I started to feel replaced by another person and replaced by somebody else's children. Like that was a really difficult thing to deal with. And I'd never really given it much thought or consideration. I'd been hurt by it, certainly, and I understood it on an emotional level, but never really crossed into that sort of intellectual space where I could like say with any clarity that this is how I felt. And this is what I mean by, I think a lot of things just sort of fall through the cracks. And it's nobody's fault necessarily. I mean, some sensitivity is required when, starting out on new arrangements, and particularly where children are involved. And there was no sensitivity in my experience. But even in the best of circumstances, I think things do fall through the cracks because you just can't account for everybody all the time. And you also can't account for how people's feelings might evolve over time. A step family might form and a child might be like 8 or 9 years old. And well, that's one thing. They're 8 or 9 years old. They're comfortable with it at the time or doing their best to be. And they're, from an adult perspective, oh, well, they seem to be doing okay. They're playing with their toys still and they're talking to people. It's okay. But at 18, 19, 20, they might withdraw entirely. And that's what happened in my circumstances. I put on the face. I went to my, designated access arrangements. I was cordial and polite with my father's partner, who I thought was fine. I didn't have anything against them, really. And, I played with my step siblings. And then I went home. But at 18, 19, 20, I did withdraw. I just went, no, this never made me feel comfortable. And I always felt replaced and I don't want to be part of this, And I walked away from it. There's much more to my story that's involved, but for the purposes of today's video, just talking about the stepfamily thing, that can happen. And I think what's hard, particularly from the child's perspective, is like you feel replaced, but then when you withdraw later, you're kind of the bad guy. You're like, oh, you've got a problem with us now. It's like, well, I kind of had a problem back then, really, and I was quite hurt, or whatever the case is, and now I'm an adult, I'm not really comfortable anymore, and I don't want to be part of it. But that seems to be coming out of nowhere all of a sudden. As I say, these things slip through the cracks, but then they manifest later, and there's there's an issue, there's tension all of a sudden. I never wanted there to be any tension, but I know now that people assume that I have an issue with like my step guardian, my father's partner, or my step siblings. And it couldn't be further from the truth. I really don't have a problem with any of those individuals. I just don't want to be part of it. And that seems pretty reasonable to me. I felt replaced, and I don't feel like I really have a place at the table, so to speak. And I haven't been and don't feel welcome, haven't been welcomed to join in with them in many, many years, and I'm not interested to. So that's how that's evolved in my case. But I imagine this happens for lots of people. Or they don't do what I do. They keep going to the Christmases and the birthdays, but feel adrift, feel like something's missing, feel not as connected as they should. And they're wondering why. And it's because you never maybe formed a real bond with the step siblings or the step parent or whatever it might be. And that's not your fault, and but it's not their fault either. It's just sometimes it doesn't really work. And I think that that's okay. And I think we've got to do a better job at being okay with not being so okay. Like, it's messy and I don't really want to be involved. That's all right. Is that really the end of the world? I don't think it is. But people want it to be. People want that to be like, oh, well, this person's just cut us off, and there's this animosity now and blah blah blah. It's like, there's no animosity. I'm just not interested, thanks. But there's no space for that, seemingly. And then there are great cases of step families. Of course there are. Of course there are. I've never heard of one, but I'm sure there are. And I know I'm coming across a little mean by saying that, but like, in truth, every time I've met somebody who's had a step family situation and they're putting a good spin on it, I'm like, is that really how you feel? Like, actually? And this has happened, how many times has this happened? I want to say half a dozen, maybe to a dozen times over the years of socializing and what have you. Meeting people and finding out about their family situation, and oh yeah, dad or mom is with this person now and blah blah blah, and they kind of just write it off. And if you ask some questions, if you say, are you really comfortable with that, or that must have been hard, how'd you feel when that happened, it becomes very apparent that there's a lot of suppressed ill feeling. And I don't go digging around for it in people. I don't want people to feel bad. In fact, I actually usually go out of my way to make people feel good. But I do ask real questions of people. It's always been just an aspect of me. I want real answers, because I don't think life is as simple as we try and make out. And that's, in a way, what this show has been about, and what this channel was about, is like, like looking at the grey areas of life and being like, they're pretty grey, like they're pretty murky. And that's okay, that's fine. But we always talked about narratives on the show, and we still do. And that was a big thing that I was reflecting on, is like, we try to put these spins on things, and so-and-so's happy now, and it's better, and it's this, and it's whatever, and I'm this person because I take this role in the family. And we don't do a very good job at challenging them, because it doesn't serve us. That's how we end up sort of outsiders, and sometimes cut off or estranged or something if we start wrestling with these things. So it serves us a lot better to just kind of fall in line and go along with the status quo narrative. But you ask people a few questions, and it doesn't take long before they start saying, well, actually, nah, they didn't make me feel good, and oh, it's a bit weird, and I don't like going, and those things come up pretty quickly. And I think we all have those things in our life. Doesn't mean we need to attack them all at once and like create confrontation and conflict. I don't believe in that. I'm not advocating for that. But I am advocating for a little introspection and a little self-reflection and a little truth, right? Like, and it's a little bit... It reminds me a little bit of sort of like abuse and victim blaming to a certain extent, where it's always like, someone will come forward in their 40s and be like, this happened to me as a kid. And people that want to shut that down will be very quick to say, well, why didn't you say so at the time? And it's like, well, look, because I lived inside a culture that made saying that absolutely impossible. It would have made me an outcast. It would have ruined my life to say it. I'm only able to say it now after my life's basically been ruined. And it's a little bit like this, I think, with step families, is like there's certain animosities that get buried, but they never really go away. And I think when people later do something, like they distance themselves, or they finally raise an issue at a Christmas party or whatever the thing is, then it's like, well, why didn't you say this at the time? And it's like, well, because at the time you weren't allowing any space for that. There was a particular narrative that everybody needed to conform to at that time, and we did, and it wasn't true. It wasn't true then, and it isn't true now. If you're in that boat where you're sort of wrestling with something, like it's been frustrating you, it's in the back of your mind, like, nah, there was something not right about that. It's okay. You're not crazy. You're not stupid. You're not mean. You're not a bad person. It's probably the case that that is worth examining. I'm not encouraging you to go out and like start an issue with somebody, but you know, maybe bring it up in therapy or something. It's okay. These things happen. Life's messy, and stepfamilies are complicated. They're really complicated. I think the very worst thing now, from my view, looking back, is that knowing that you've been replaced, you also know that your position is really diminished, because it's like the person or people that you've been replaced by, they're allies now. So anything that you want to challenge, you're going against the whole group. You know, you're not just going against your biological parent, you're going against the entire life that your biological parent has established with these other people. So that's a really, really tough place to be in. And it's quite daunting and overwhelming. And you really do feel as if your only choices are to shut your mouth and conform and stay, or to just kind of retreat quietly. And that sucks. It really sucks. If you've gone through something like that, if you're in that situation now, if you're beginning your retreat, whatever the case is, and you want to share it, then please do so in the comments. I hope what I've said made sense. I hope I haven't sort of offended anybody. I'm not intending to, obviously, but yeah, feel free to share. And if you find this stuff interesting, this is the kind of grey area stuff that Mum and I cover on the show. So come and check out the BARROW Podcast. You can find links and further information in the description to today's video, as well as on the homepage to this YouTube channel. Until next time, bye.